and I'm curious what you're doing to kind of build up the corporate culture and to keep people connected. And we'll get into hiring after that, because that's one where how does a new person who's never met anybody in person feel like they're part of a team? I know a good friend of mine, Cameron Harold, who's a COO guidance counselor and said, or coach, had said that they started doing Tattoo Tuesdays, and you would be able to share the tattoo you said, bold choice, Cameron. But it was, hey, everybody, I was just stunned that 80% of the office had one, and they were happy to talk about it. So what are we doing to kind of keep the culture of your companies and your organizations going?
I think one of the things we were really focusing on is our communities. So we have a lot of different communities at Adobe, and we are trying to have events that will actually bring people back into the offices that are open. So right now, we're getting close to the holidays, and so there's a lot of giving opportunities, and there's a lot of, they're having events where you can come in, you can get kits, you can take it home, and you can build things that you can give back to the community. And I think that's one of the ways we're actually seeing where we're getting a lot of participation, and a lot of people they need a reason right now to come back into the offices. That's been one of them.
One of the things that I witnessed in our company in the first probably 6 months of shelter in places, there was a lot of energy around getting people together all the time, lots of happy hours and lots of fun, online events. And after a while, there was just a real fatigue around that. People got tired. I mean, that's just the reality. It's like, you're doing your day job and you're trying to plan all of these events. I started to see sort of a resurgence of that. Not necessarily the happy hours all the time, but it's, how do we think differently around getting our teams together? Because, for instance, my team is quite distributed. I've got folks all over the world, and I've always done a lot of kind of virtual meetings, but, many people would be on site and some would be virtual. Now everyone's virtual, and we're able to see kind of some of the pitfalls that maybe our colleagues in Asia or Europe, or Latin America or whatever experience. So it's taking that step back and thinking about how we can engage with everybody. So it has to start with the teams, and so just making sure that we are connecting individually with everybody on a call. As a company, it's making sure that the company itself is having regular company meetings that people are participating in. It's doing that outreach in terms of our communities. And it's every employee's responsibility to make sure that they are, helping to maintain that culture.
So I started at Peloton in June, and that means that I was onboarded as a remote. I've never experienced this magical office culture that they talk about, to be perfectly honest. But Peloton has done a great job in the onboarding experience, even remotely, so that you really you get the culture, you understand the leader's vision without having to be in the office. And I think they've taken advantage of Slack channels and Zooms and breakout groups, and just really creating close cohorts and communities to really create that connection between people who are worlds apart. And honestly, that is our new reality. So it's really exciting to be a part of a company where that's the new norm.
It sort of feels like it hastened the technology that was going to happen anyway, right? Like especially the millennials and the younger in the workforce that don't know the tradition say, oh, I'd like to live somewhere else. I'd like to work on a computer all day and not necessarily have to drive somewhere and have a commute. And so for them, I think it's a benefit. What do you guys, Rodney?
I'll take it a little bit in a different direction here. There's nothing replacing the in-person.
Yeah. Who wanted a virtual cocktail party tonight? Raise your hand. Nobody. Thank you. That proves our point.
There's nothing replacing that. And just before this last variant, we polled probably 120 of our larger companies about when they were coming back. They were going to come back the first week of January, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. For that meeting, it's not sitting there all day, but at least some meetings and creative meetings and flow, and then leaving and going back and doing work. And I still am bullish that that's going to return, and hopefully we get past COVID-19. People feel safe. I feel pretty safe in this room. Hopefully you do, and I know you do back soon. So thank you.